South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa has urged South Africans not to succumb to the challenges that the ailing economy has presented. He says they should be confronted rather with resolve and action. In his State of the Nation address on Thursday, Ramaphosa also outlined the government's priorities for the year. An economist, Trinity Nkube, joins me now from Johannesburg, South Africa, to dissect President Ramaphosa's speech, especially regarding the economy. Many thanks for joining us on the program. Now, did the President's State of the Nation address meet your expectations?
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me. When I look at the entire speech, there was about 9 key takeaways that I took from there. More of the stuff was more of the same. There wasn't anything radically different. However, I think three key issues that came out of that speech excited me because I thought that would be a little bit refreshing. So when I look at, for instance, the commercialization of hemp and marijuana, that is something that's new. A lot of people can get jobs in that space, as well as government actually getting some tax, And then I looked at the spectrum licensing before the end of 2020. The data cost, I think you're aware that in South Africa we're paying almost the highest internet fees across the world. So that would obviously ease operational costs in terms of business. And when I look at the infrastructure, as well as fighting, the youth unemployment. I thought those were the most refreshing things from there. The other stuff, if you look at, the usual state or SOEs, as well as investment conferences, these are just the same things that we've had before. In my view, as a business person, I don't value words that much. I look at how people act. I'm more like looking at how people act, and I take that more seriously. I think people are more consistent with their actions.
With the unemployment rate at its highest in at least a decade, state-owned enterprises like Eskom and South African Airways floundering, and of course trade and manufacturing sectors are bleeding. Did Ramaphosa's speech provide solutions for the dire state of the economy?
There were some positives from what I've just mentioned. However, there wasn't anything drastic enough, something that will transform the economy. I think we lack that sort of seriousness and devotion towards actually transforming the economy because we're not looking at the source. What is the source of all these issues? Is how this economic system is set up. It doesn't benefit each and every individual South African. For us to have social mobility, we need to be taking our people more seriously. We need to be looking at human capital. Yes, there's some aspects here and there, across what he was saying in terms of getting used to work and all of that. But it's really not going to the grassroots, to the source of the issues. So yes, there's some positives, but I'm afraid we lack that seriousness in terms of actually drastically looking at things to transform the economy.
Mr. Ramaphosa pledged that the government will implement measures that will fundamentally change the energy generation as Eskom works to, of course, restore its operational capabilities. And part of those measures include to open bid window 5 of the Renewable Energy IPP and, of course, work with producers to accelerate the completion of window 4 projects. What do you make of these measures?
I like the intention. The intentions are great. Again, as I said earlier on, people are more consistent with their actions. Let's see what happens in the next 12 to 18 months, and perhaps we can speak about this because, you see, we have African governments who don't have a track record of keeping promises and actually implementing whatever they say that they planned.
We'll wait to see how that plays out. Now, how can the government improve the level of investor confidence in South Africa, which the president agrees has to change radically?
Absolutely, I agree with him that we need to change certain things. When I look at it, if you look at the country just as a person, if you're investing in somebody, you have to see the right, kind of factors going into that person. And what we see, brown South Africa right now, is tainted. It needs some serious cleanup, and that starts with us taking ourselves seriously, investing in human capital. We have not yet been serious about investing in our people so that we can have capital mobility. We are one of the most unequal societies in the world. And that for sure, we need to be tackling that. We need to go to the source of the issue. What is the issue? It's the institutional makeup. It is how the capitalistic system is working in South Africa. It does not benefit the ordinary black people, the majority of South Africa. And that is something that our politicians are not honest enough to interrogate. So that is the key. That is where we need to start. As long as we're looking at, here and there, we're actually not confronting the source of the problem, and we'll be going into decades and decades of putting bandages on these sectors without actually transforming the economy. We need to transform the economy. Yes, it can be painful, but yes, let's go to the source. The youth are unemployed. We need to get people into jobs. We need people to create jobs. We need South Africa to be attractive for our own private people to invest. Yes, then outside world will see how attractive we are as an investment destination.
Well, many thanks, Mr. Trinity Nkubi, an economist from South Africa. Thanks for speaking with us on the program.
Thank you for having me.